All right, I've got 6:50. I'm going to take a quick roll call, make sure all the board members are present. Mayor Williams. Mayor Williams, present.
Present.
Vice Mayor Povlin.
Vice Mayor Povlin, present.
Alderman Meyer. Alderman Meyer. Alderman Burnett.
Alderman Burnett, present.
All right, we have a quorum. It's time to call the Farragut Beer Board for July 23rd, 2020 to order. First item is approval of minutes.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Do I hear a second?
Second.
All in favor say aye.
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 Opposed? Okay. Minutes have been approved and passed.
Alderman
Next.
Pinchot,
Yep.
I just wanted to make
Yep.
sure everybody, we need to do a roll call vote. I'm sorry to do that to you, but each vote needs to be a roll call vote.
I'm sorry. Okay. Allison?
All right, Alderman Burnett.
Alderman Burnett, yes.
Alderman Meyer.
Alderman Meyer, yes.
Alderman Pinchot.
Yes.
Alderman Povlin.
Yes.
Mayor Williams.
Mayor Williams, yes.
All right. Motion passes. Next item is a beer permit request for approval of a Class 6 special occasion beer permit for Dog Days 4.
Yes, sir. I'm going to go ahead and explain the one for Dog Days and the Taste of Farragut. They're both the exact same request, just for two different events, and two different dates. This is similar to the ones they've done in the past, and the Business Alliance is requesting for the $100 application fee to be waived since the town is a sponsor. So the first motion will be to waive the $100 fee and approve the special occasion beer permit for the Taste of Farragut event October the 4th, and it's valid through December 31st if they do need to change that date. The other motion is to waive the $100 application fee and approve the special occasion beer permit for the Dog Days 5 for August 14th through the 16th, and it's also valid through December 31st.
I assume we have to have separate motions.
Yes, sir.
All
I'm
right,
gonna
we need
move
a
to-
motion.
Move to
Go
approve, waive the $100 application fee and approve the special occasion beer permit for the Dog Days 4 for August 14th through 16th, 2020, and valid through December 31st, 2020.
Second.
All right. Steve, are you present? Are you online?
I'm on the phone here. Can you hear me?
Yes. Would you
Hello?
like to say anything?
Well, during these challenging times, this is a breath of fresh air. We have quite a few vendors and people getting excited about being able to do something, even though it'll be restricted in some forms with social distancing and masks. But the Dock Dogs International is very excited because they've had so many of their spring events canceled. Ours has been upgraded to what they call wild card status, and we've had to add 6 hours for competitors to this year's schedule in order to accommodate everybody. So it's a big time. We've got many of our usual suspects, but I'm gaining new vendors and sponsors every day. Looking forward to a great event.
Thank you. Are there any questions or comments from the members of the board? If we have none, go ahead and vote.
Alderman Meyer.
Alderman Meyer, yes.
Alderman Pinchot.
Yes.
Alderman Povlin.
Yes.
Alderman Burnett.
Yes.
Mayor Williams.
Mayor Williams, yes.
All right, motion passes. Now we need a motion for the Taste of Farragut event.
I'm going to move to waive the $100 application fee and approve the special occasion beer permit for the Taste of Farragut event October 4th, 2020, and valid through December 31st, 2020.
Second.
All right. We have a motion and a second. Steve, again, any comments from you?
We have moved the event from our May 1st because of the virus and the implications of getting crowds together. Hopefully by October, we can be a little more lenient. However, we are taking all precautions and using the Tennessee Pledge guidelines in order to keep this event on the books and moving forward. We're in the middle of solicitations right now, and many sponsors and usual sponsors have already stepped on to move the event and forward. And we also changed the date to a Sunday afternoon. This is an effort to get more restaurant involvement, being that Sundays may not be their busiest time, where usually had been a Friday evening. So once again, trying to make it exciting. We're at the old Kroger parking lot probably for the last time, but hopefully it'll keep the town center front of mind, top of mind as we move forward into the 12th year of the Taste of Farragut. So looking forward to a great event, and always appreciate your support.
Thank you, Steve, for all your efforts and all you've done, and thanks for the update on all that information. Greatly appreciated. Any other comments or questions by board members? All right, Allison, time for a vote.
All right, Alderman Pinchuk.
Yes.
Alderman Poplin.
Yes.
Alderman Burnett.
Yes.
Alderman Meyer.
Alderman Meyer, yes.
Mayor Williams.
Mayor Williams, yes.
Great. The motion passes. All right, we're going to move on to our third item, approval of a Class 5 off-premise beer permit for Evolve Smoke Shop located at 750 North Campbell Station Road. Just for everybody's information, a Class 5 off-premise permit is one for sale beer not to be consumed by the purchaser on the premise of the sellers. Okay. Do we have a motion? Oh, we haven't read it yet. Sorry.
Yes, sir. Everything for this agenda item is in order, and the motion is to approve the Class 5 off-premise beer permit for the Evolve Smoke Shop at 715 North Campbell Station Road. And Avani Patel is on our call tonight.
I'm going to move to approve a Class 5 off-premise beer permit for Evolve Smoke Shop, 715 North Campbell Station Road.
Alderman Meyer,
Any
second.
Thank you. All right, Mr. Patel, are you on the line?
Yes, I'm here.
Oh, I'm sorry. Would you like to, I'm sorry, would you like to make any comments?
Yes, I mean, we have rules in place on my other locations, but definitely over here as an owner or business manager, we have a compliance training requirement. Like today, I literally went in and got my own. We will also gonna have like the age requirement displayed. Of course, it's off premises, so we're gonna have to make sure the IDs are being checked, verified. And if they're intoxicated, obviously we have a right to refuse, and we will make sure that for sure. And we have a compliancy for clerks, like the beer permit plans for them, and as well as for employees, the new employees requirement too.
Thank you for all that information. We do have a packet. Allison, have they received the packet that we hand out to?
They have not. They'll get it when they get their actual hard copy of their permit.
All right, terrific. And I want to make sure I understand the location is at the old Dunkin' Donuts location?
Yeah,
Is that correct?
correct.
Oh.
Yeah, we remodeled that and made a smoke shop, yeah.
Okay. Any comments from the other board members? Questions?
None.
I have none.
here. None.
None.
All right. All right, time for a vote.
Alderman Pinchuk.
Yes.
Alderman Poplin.
Yes.
Alderman Burnett.
Alderman Burnett, yes.
Alderman Meyer.
Alderman Meyer, yes.
Mayor Williams.
Mayor Williams, yes.
All right, motion passes. Is there any other business for the beer board? Any other questions or comments? If not, the Farragut Beer Board for July 23rd, 2020 is now adjourned.
Okay, it's approximately
you.
7 p.m. And the July 23rd, 2020 Farragut Board and Mayor and Alderman meeting will now come to order. Tonight, we'll be operating on Governor Lee's Executive Order number 16/3451 due to the COVID pandemic. Executive Order 16 concerning electronic means have been extended by Executive Order 34 through June 30th, which has now been extended by Executive Order 51, which will be enforced through August 29th, 2020, which at that time it will expire. In accordance with Executive Order, live access to the virtual meetings is made available through Charter Channel 193 or TDS Channel 3. That's in Farragut. During this period of time, all citizens' agenda or forum comments and questions, along with a name and address, should be emailed to comment@townoffarragut.org and should have been received by 12 p.m. today in order to be included in the record of the meeting. Farragut Mayor and Alderman meetings will be public notice per Tennessee state law. They will also be recorded and can be viewed later on Town of Farragut YouTube channel. Also, tonight we are going on all comments will be reviewed based on the comment protocol. And pursuant to the governor's executive order, all votes taken will be by roll call vote. I'll now ask Town Recorder to take an attendance roll call for a quorum.
Alderman Pavlin.
Alderman Pavlin here.
Alderman Burnett.
Alderman Burnett here.
Alderman Meyer.
Alderman Meyer here.
Alderman Pinchuk.
Alderman Pinchuk here.
Mayor Williams.
Williams here. Do we have any press available?
Yes, sir. We have Margie Hagan, Tammy Cheek, and looks like all that's on they have their name put into the list.
Okay, if there's any others, identify yourself. Okay, with no, then we'll ask for a motion to approve the July 23rd, 2020 agenda as stated.
Move to approve the agenda as stated.
Alderman Pinchuk, second.
Okay. With a motion and a second, I'll now ask Town Recorder to please take a roll call vote.
Alderman Burnett.
Alderman Burnett, yes.
Alderman Meyer.
Alderman Meyer, yes.
Alderman Pinchuk.
Alderman Pinchuk, yes.
Alderman Pavlin.
Alderman Pavlin, yes.
Mayor Williams.
Mayor Williams, yes. Let the record show that the July 23rd, 2020 agenda has been approved. Okay, next will be approval of minutes. I'll now ask for a motion to approve the July 19th, 2020 minutes as presented.
Move to approve.
Second. Alderman Meyer, second.
Okay. With a motion, a second, I'll now ask for a roll call vote by the Town Recorder, please.
Alderman Meyer.
Alderman Meyer, yes.
Alderman Pinchuk.
Alderman Pinchuk abstains. I was absent.
Alderman Pavlin.
Alderman Pavlin, yes.
Alderman Burnett.
Alderman Burnett, yes.
Mayor Williams.
Mayor Williams, yes. Let the record show that the July 9th, 2020 minutes has been approved by a 4-1 with the 1 abstain vote. Will be recorded as the official minutes of that meeting. Okay, next will be the mayor's report. Not much to report other than, I urge everyone to stay with the physical distancing and the face covering when you're around each other. The daily updates that we have are very disturbing. It's showing that folks are not taking this seriously. We need to all do our part, and that would be greatly appreciated. I'll now yield the floor to Vice Mayor Coughlin for her report.
I have a short one. I want to wish a belated congratulations to Mayor Williams as he was elected Vice President of the Tennessee Municipal League representing the Eastern Division. Congratulations, I think.
Yeah. Let's hope so. Okay, thank you. Any other aldermen have anything to report?
Nothing yet.
We'll move on to our 4 business items. Start off with the first one, approval of bids. 3 new mowers, an X48 commercial tracer walk behind, a John Deere Z997R zero turn, and a Toro Groundsmaster 300 4-wheel drive.
Thank you, Mayor. Tonight we do have 2 new mowers for a new crew that we added this year to the budget, as well as 1 replacement mower. The 2 new mowers are an X-Mark 48-inch turf tracer walk behind and the John Deere Z997R zero turn mower. Both of those will be purchased from Farragut Lawn and Tractors from Storkswell, which is a cooperative purchasing organization authorized by the state of Tennessee. Those are each $6,214 and $20,460.33 for the John Deere. The final piece of equipment we're going to be purchasing is from Smith Turf and Irrigation through a Tennessee statewide contract 242, and that is for a 2020 Toro Groundsmaster 3300 4-wheel drive in the amount of $26,354. All of these were included in our equipment replacement program plan this year, and staff would ask for your approval.
Move to approve.
Alderman Meyer, second.
Okay. Okay, I'll first ask the town recorder if we have any citizen comments or questions that have been sent in concerning the discussion of this business item.
No, sir, we do not.
Okay, if none, then we have a motion and a second. I think we'll open the floor for discussion if there's any. And we'll start out with Alderman Burnett.
I have no other discussion. I am excited to see a new mowing crew to take a little strain off the guys that are out there currently. So no other comments there.
Okay. Alderman Meyer.
Alderman Meyer, pass.
Alderman Pinchot.
Alderman Pinchot, pass.
Vice Mayor Pavlin.
Vice Mayor Pavlin, pass.
Okay, Mayor will pass as well. I think this is going to help matters considerably. We'll be able to do a lot more, be able to work a lot more efficiently than what we have been. Okay, I'll now ask the town recorder for a roll call vote, please.
Alderman Pinchot.
Alderman Pinchot, yes.
Alderman Pavlin.
Alderman Pavlin, yes.
Alderman Burnett.
Alderman Burnett, yes.
Alderman Meyer.
Alderman Meyer, yes.
Mayor Williams.
Mayor Williams, yes. Let the record show that the bids have been approved as stated. Okay, next, the approval of bid for 1 new 2021 Chevrolet 2500 HD 4-wheel drive double cab pickup.
Mayor and Board, this vehicle is a replacement vehicle for a 2008 Ford F-250 truck that we used to plow snow. That truck had rusted severely through the years of all the snow that we salt that we put on the road. Wow. So with that, we are requesting the purchase of this contract through the state of Tennessee in the amount of $34,170.20 for a Chevy 2500 HD 4-wheel drive. And this will come with a plow package, and then we will buy the plow separately from this. So staff, that's all we have for this item, and we ask for your approval.
Move to approve.
Alderman Meyer, second.
Okay. With the motion and a second, I'll now ask the town recorder, please read any citizen comments or questions that have been sent in concerning this discussion on the business item.
We have none for this item.
None for this one, then we'll start with a discussion by Alderman Burnett.
Alderman Burnett will pass.
Yes. Alderman Pinchot.
Alderman Pinchot, pass.
Alderman Meyer.
Alderman Meyer, pass.
Vice Mayor Pavlin.
Vice Mayor Pavlin, pass.
Okay, the mayor has nothing as well. We have a motion on the floor that's been seconded. We'll need a roll call vote by the town recorder, please.
Alderman Pavlin.
Alderman Pavlin, yes.
Alderman Burnett.
Alderman Burnett, yes.
Alderman Meyer.
Alderman Meyer, yes.
Alderman Pinchot,
Alderman Pinchot, yes.
Mayor Williams.
Mayor Williams, yes. Let the record show that it has been approved, stated. Okay, next will be approval of bid for replacement purchase of one new 2020 four-wheel drive pickup.
Mayor and Board, this is a vehicle 2005 Ford F-150 four-wheel drive pickup with 88,000 miles in the engineering department. Recently, this vehicle became inoperable as the engine locked up, and it was very expensive to replace with an older vehicle, high mileage. It's better to go ahead and replace this vehicle now. We have it on state contract. Public Works Director Bud McKelvey was able to find one on state contract from Wilson County Motors, the 2020 Chevy Colorado four-wheel drive pickup in the amount of $29,297.18, and we request your approval of this purchase.
Move to approve.
Alderman Meyer, second.
Okay. Now ask the town recorder, please read in any citizens' comments or questions that have been sent in concerning this item.
There are none for this item.
None on this one. Okay, we'll move on to discussion, starting with Alderman Meyer.
Alderman Meyer, pass.
Alderman Pinchot.
Alderman Pinchot, pass.
Alderman Burnett.
Alderman Burnett, pass.
Vice Mayor Pavlin.
Yes, David, I have a quick question. Was this, clearly we weren't expecting this to have an internal failure, but it did. Was this on our list of replacements? We knew this was coming, or this come out of this?
This was not on our list of replacements. We look at these every year. I know Bud looks thoroughly at all these vehicles. It just happened that the engine seized up, and it's very expensive to fix. Basically, a whole new engine has to be put in place. So at this point, with a 14-year-old truck or 15-year-old truck, it's just time to replace the vehicle. And we're able to buy a smaller vehicle, actually, for this purchase now. This used to have a plow on it, or had a plow. We could plow a mini plow on it. We don't need that anymore, so we're able to actually, I guess, downgrade the vehicle a little bit, but still have four-wheel drive, so the engineering staff can get out in the field when they need to.
Okay, how does that leave us for the rest of our total budget?
Right, we're still in good shape right now. This total purchase, by approving this, would put our expenditures to date at $113,224. That still leaves us with $65,717 in the equipment replacement fund that you have allocated for this year. We still have some vehicles to purchase, so we'll have to see how that does. We may have to amend the budget later, but right now that is not a factor for this purchase.
Okay, that's what I was curious, if we envision that we might have to amend our budget later. So just want to be heads up on that. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, thank you, Vice Mayor Pavlin. And the only question I have is, are both these vehicles white?
Yes, sir, they are. All vehicles are white. I know we had some pictures in here that were red and things like that, but they're all white.
Okay, that's all I have. Okay, with a motion and a second on the floor, we'll now need a roll call vote from our town recorder, please.
Alderman Burnett.
Alderman Burnett, yes.
Alderman Meyer.
Alderman Meyer, yes.
Alderman Pinchot.
Alderman Pinchot, yes.
Alderman Pavlin.
Alderman Pavlin, yes.
Mayor Williams.
Mayor Williams, yes. Let the record show that the bid for replacement purchase has been approved as discussed. Okay, next will be ordinance. We have two ordinances to review for public hearing tonight. Both will be on first reading. Okay, we'll start off with ordinance 20-08, ordinance to define a drug treatment facility, clinic, medical, dental, or veterinary facility clinic, pain management facility clinic, and to provide drug treatment and pain management facilities, clinics, and associated development criteria in the regional commercial, which is C2 district.
Good evening. This is Mark Shipley. Going to review this item for you. We actually, if you may remember, back in March, we had a workshop with the board talking through the question of pain management, regulating pain management and drug treatment clinics. It was noted that in our current zoning ordinance, we don't specifically define those uses, and they would really fall under the general medical, dental, and veterinary facilities that would be permitted in most of our commercial and office zoning districts. So there was a need to address that in an ordinance form. And so then we took the feedback we received from the board, and then we had a couple of workshop sessions with the Planning Commission in April and May, and we presented them with some different discussion items, definitions, use separation provisions, some other provisions that other communities in the area are using in dealing with these type of uses. And then we discussed, where these type uses may be appropriate. So based on all that input, we developed Ordinance 20-08 and presented that to the Planning Commission in June. That ordinance provides specific definitions for both drug treatment clinics and pain management clinics, and it also clarifies our existing definition of medical, dental, and veterinary clinics, and differentiates those from these other type of uses. We basically are providing for drug treatment and pain management clinics in the regional commercial zoning district only. And then there's a 1,000 foot separation, use separation provision in the ordinance as well from schools and child care facilities, public library, community center, and public parks. When this ordinance was presented to the Planning Commission at their meeting in June, they did unanimously recommend approval of Ordinance 20-08, and the staff would recommend approval of this ordinance on first reading, and I'll be happy to try to answer any questions you may have.
I'm going to move
Alderman
to
Pinchot, I'll move to approve Ordinance 20-08 on first reading.
I second.
It's a little hard to hear that. Oh, that's a good picture.
I'll now ask the town recorder to please read in any citizen comments or questions concerning this ordinance.
Okay. There were no comments submitted.
Okay. Sorry, Mark, I didn't mean to slight you there.
I'm in her office, so when
Okay.
Okay, I'll do the roll call too.
Okay.
Get to that.
Then if, since we have none, then we can first off, I guess, see if we have any more discussion on this. We've discussed it, but in the past, but is there any more discussion? And we'll start off with Meyer.
Alderman Meyer, pass.
Okay. Alderman Pinchot.
Alderman Pinchot, pass.
Alderman Burnett.
Alderman Burnett, pass.
Vice Mayor Povlin.
Vice Mayor Povlin, pass.
Okay, I have no more questions as well. So with the motion on the floor, it's been seconded. I'll ask Mark to please take a roll call vote, please.
Okay, Alderman Meyer.
Alderman Meyer, yes.
Alderman Pinchot.
Alderman Pinchot, yes.
Alderman Povlin.
Alderman Povlin, yes.
Alderman Burnett.
Alderman Burnett, yes.
Mayor Williams.
Mayor Williams, yes. And let the record show that ordinance 20-08 has been approved on first reading. Okay, next, let me change pages here. This will be ordinance 20-10. It's an ordinance to zone parcel 019, tax map 162, located at 1013 McPhee Road. It's 4.85 acres. Currently agriculture, A, open space mixed residential overlay, R1-OSMR. Rackley Engineering applicant.
Yes, this is the Gibson Farm property. You can see it there on the screen. It's 2 parcels south of the park on McPhee Road. And the property is currently zoned agricultural. Just some information about the property. It does have a transmission line easement that runs through the property in a horizontal manner. And the applicant is requesting to rezone the property from agricultural to R1 OSMR, open space mixed residential. That's the same zoning district that the cottages at Price Farms is zoned. The OSMR provides for detached single family and attached single family, just like the cottages. Whereas the regular open space residential only provides for detached. Both districts have the same density allowance, so there's no difference between the OSMR and OSR. It's all based on the R1 base zoning for the property. And based on the acreage of this tract, they would be permitted potentially up to 54 house lots. And as I mentioned earlier, the property does have a large transmission line through the kind of the north part of the property. It's a 100-foot wide easement associated with that line. So what I think their objective in requesting to rezone it to this district was so that they could cluster the attached part on part of the property and the detached on another part to kind of work around that large transmission line easement. So as you may remember, a few months ago, we had a public workshop that focused on this part of town. It's our most undeveloped part of town, so we wanted to get the public's thoughts on what they wanted to see in the future out there. And as far as the land use goes, they wanted to see open space cluster residential. That's what most of the residential properties are, whether it's OSR or OSMR in that general area. So really either of those zoning districts, OSR or OSMR, would be consistent with the open space cluster residential land use. As I mentioned at the Planning Commission discussion, really it becomes a question of what, the kind of form that you might want to see in this general area. It's a pretty rural area. Most of the properties that haven't been developed are still zoned agricultural or a low density residential district. So it kind of is just a question for you all as to what you want to see out there, as to whether, again, if you rezone this parcel, would it make it more likely that other parcels could be rezoned to the OSMR? And is that a form that you want to see in this general area? Again, it would be something similar to the cottages at Price Farm. When this was reviewed by the Planning Commission for a vote, they did recommend through a vote of 8-1 to approve the ordinance, or recommend approval of ordinance 20-10, which is what the applicant requested to rezone it from agricultural to R1 OSMR. So that's kind of a background on this. If you all have any questions, I'll be happy to try to answer those. And I assume that the applicant is on the call as well, if you have any questions for them.
Okay. First off, I think I better ask if any comment from our citizens or questions in this ordinance.
Do we want a motion first?
You want to give one?
Yeah. I'll move to approve ordinance 20-10 on first reading.
Alderman Meyer, second.
Okay, then Mark, do we have any citizen comments or questions concerning this ordinance?
No, sir.
Then we'll move to discussion, and I'll start off with it because since I was the lone vote against it, I guess I'd be the one to start. So when I went through the meeting with all of the residents out there, then they all seemed to like the single families. And that was what they conveyed to me, and what they marked up on the map we had. And we kind of, I guess, got that from the survey from everyone. And so that was my reasoning for saying that's what the people want. I'm sure that the property owners, they have property rights. They can most definitely sell it, but the developer needs to develop it, I think, based on what the citizens of the area would like to see. And I think they have a little bit of a skin in the game. And the one thing that concerns me is if we do this and we set a precedence along that power line for attached, then we've got quite a bit of land that heads on the other side of McPhee and goes across. Well, it parallels Boyd Station. There are power lines that goes down through there, and then those power lines they keep on going onto more land in Farragut. So it's not like this power line, it just happens on this one particular piece of property. You've got other pieces of property that it will also apply to later on down the road. So that was my concern right there from what I just said. So that's my point. So next, I guess we'll go on with maybe Alderman Meyer.
Thank you, Mayor Williams. So if the zoning went to single family as the residents are looking for, Mark, any idea about how many houses we would be able to be on this lot? Because right now, look, you said there was 54 houses. So if we went to single family or detached, any idea roughly?
Well, I mean, it's a total of 54. That could be broken down into any way they wanted to mix it up. But the one thing with the attached is and I guess the logic of their request was because of the transmission line easement, it allows them to concentrate more of that density in a smaller portion of the land. So you could end up with a little bit more open space, overall open space, with the OSMR as opposed to the OSR. But again, you do have structures that are attached to each other. And again, is that form, something that you all want to continue to see in this general area with this and the other properties as they maybe get rezoned and developed.
I'm sorry, Alderman Meyer. I have a lot of information from a different perspective. And as I serve on the Planning Commission as well, and I supported this rezoning, it might be helpful to hear from my perspective as well. That might help you. So, Mayor Williams, may I go next?
Yes, if Alderman is finished, you can, yes.
I apologize, Alderman Meyer. Yeah. I have a lot of information.
I know you do, and I can't wait to hear it. Just one more quick question. So with this, the proposed zoning, is there going to be more people living in this space versus the single family zoning?
That's part of my information.
Yeah, okay, Louise can speak to that.
Yield my time.
She can speak to that question. Yeah.
I read this into the record, so I'm going to go ahead and read it into the record again because there was a lot of information I did to research that I kind of had to put this together. So I'll start from the beginning. Private property rights are protected in the United States Constitution through the 5th and the 14th Amendments due process clauses and through the 5th Amendment's takings clause. And the Tennessee Constitution, due process is addressed in Article 1, Section 8, and the takings clause is addressed in Article 1, Section 21. We, as elected officials, took an oath to support the constitutions of the United States and the state of Tennessee. The town of Farragut is granted powers of local planning in Title 13, Chapter 4, Parts 1 through 3, and the land use regulation in Title 13, Chapter 7 by the state constitution and state laws. And these powers are reserved to the state by the federal constitution. Specifically, the town can adopt zoning ordinances, subdivision regulations, and a comprehensive land use plan and enforce building codes, but the use of these powers to exert influence over the use of private property is constrained by the constitutional principles I just discussed. In other words, our community can plan and regulate land use, but whether an individual owns 2/10 of an acre or 200 acres, or in this case, 24.85 acres or 45.5 acres, we have to treat landowners fairly and equally and reasonably. While we cannot necessarily control the rate of growth, we have a comprehensive land use plan which was adopted in 2012, which guides that growth. Private property owners are entitled to reasonable use of their land. Reasonable use is defined at the very least by how a property is currently zoned, or how it is envisioned to be used, as shown in the comprehensive land use plan. This is a rezoning request. The first place we go is to the comprehensive land use plan map. On that map, this parcel is shown as open space cluster residential. Table 3-1 in the land use plan shows that the zoning conversion for open space cluster residential is open space residential overlay district, OSR, and open space mixed residential overlay district, OSMR. Therefore, our land use plan indicates that this rezoning request for R1 OSMR is a reasonable use of land. Further, one of the key strategies highlighted in our land use plan is to allow or encourage greater housing choice. This property is compromised. It includes a 100-foot wide TVA tower utility easement. This is a good opportunity to provide single-family attached housing. Whether this property is rezoned R1 OSR or R1 OSMR, the density remains the same at 2.178 units per acre. The number of units permitted is a maximum of 54 units. Until there is a secondary access point, only 30 units can be developed. With regard to traffic, single-family detached housing generates more traffic than single-family attached housing. Specifically, according to the Trip Generation Manual, single-family detached generates 9.44 trips per day, units per day. Single-family attached generates 7.32 trips per unit per day. So if traffic is a concern, single-family attached lessens the impact. Moreover, R1 OSMR zoning already exists on McPhee Road corridor at the cottages at Price Farm, which is less than 1,000 feet from the property we are currently discussing. The cottages at Price Farm subdivision was granted R1 OSMR zoning in 2007. The Board of Mayor and Aldermen granted this zoning at least in part due to the large sinkhole on the property which left the property compromised for development. The sinkhole is 6.01 acres. The subdivision is 45.5 acres, leaving approximately 13.2% of this property unusable. Similarly, the current property is compromised. It has a 100-foot wide TVA tower utility easement running the length of the property. This easement limits what can be done within it. Further, the property is compromised by the near existence of 9 power line support towers. The easement takes up approximately 20% of this property. If the Board of Mayor and Aldermen granted R1 OSMR for the cottages at Price Farm in 2008, when 13% of that property was undevelopable, it would be arbitrary and unreasonable to deny the rezoning of this property when at least 20% of it is compromised. A few final points. During the discussion at the MPC meeting, there was an argument made regarding the Schubert property that fronts Boyd Station Road and the concern about establishing a precedent for OSMR zoning. A utility easement does not bisect this property. It runs along the frontage of the property and takes up approximately 5% of the property. This is not a compromised property. When this was discussed during the CLUP update, the residents did not advocate for single-family detached housing. They actually advocated that we allow this property to develop, that we not allow this property to develop at all, and that it remain open space, which was an unreasonable position, which is why we as a board or as a group decided to keep it as open space cluster. Finally, this area is not rural. It is suburban and planned for suburban development. R1 OSMR exists on this corridor, and its existence has not hindered the interest in purchasing homes in the surrounding neighborhoods or purchasing land on which homes are being built. Homes in Brass Lantern could not be built fast enough. Apparently for those buyers, the existence of the attached single-family residential was not a deterrent, and given that the cottages at Price Farm has 2,500 feet of frontage along Evans Road and McPhee Road, there is no mistaking its existence. It fits in quite nicely with the feel of McPhee Road corridor, and it contributes to the town's need for greater housing choices. For our town to remain relevant to a wide range of home buyers at varying stages of life, from young adult professionals to retired seniors, we need to seize on the opportunities to provide for more than just single-family detached houses. Any concerns about the appearance of this proposed neighborhood along its frontage can be dealt with during the concept plan approval. I hope that was helpful, Alderman Meyer.
Very helpful, thank you.
Okay, Vice Mayor Pavlin, are you finished?
Yes, I'm thirsty too.
Alderman Pinchot.
Alderman Pinchot, yes, I'm here. First of all, I was at that public workshop on McPhee Road, and most of the people there were property owners and residents of this area of town, and they spoke pretty clearly that they wanted only detached housing. And I'm reading from the second paragraph, the last sentence, second paragraph of the agenda item. The OSR is a much more common district and includes a number of newer developments throughout the town, including Bridgemore, Sheffield, Brass Lantern, and Brookmere, all of which are located in the general area. So in my opinion, the OSR is probably the best fit for this area.
Okay, sir. Alderman Burnett.
Yeah, this is Alderman Burnett. You know, with the McPhee Road Public Workshop, we got the feedback that I believe was very clear in favor of detached single-family residential. You know, I'm in support of keeping the rural feel of the McPhee Road corridor in the form of detached single-family residential. When I talk to neighbors, residents, people in Brass Lantern, property owner by the Gibson property, everybody I talk to feels like it's more consistent having single family detached. And so I do echo some of the concern that the mayor mentioned about the almost 400 acres undeveloped around this area that could have the, you know, could access that precedent that could be set. So yeah, those are my thoughts.
Okay. I guess we need to probably hear from Mr. Rackley.
Yes, thank you, Mayor and Board. Vice Mayor Pavlin pretty much covered the bulk of it. Again, to reiterate what she pointed out, the 125 acres behind Mr. Burnett's property is owned by the Schuberts and does not have a power line easement bisecting the middle of it. The power lines actually go around that property. The 200 acres of the 400 acres owned by the B. Ray Thompson family behind the subject parcel, 200 of which is in Loudoun County, it does have the power line going through it, but it's also 200 acres, not 25, meaning there's opportunity. That will be a much larger master planned community. I keep hearing you say that attached, single family attached housing isn't appropriate for this area, yet the largest OSMR development that is in the town of Farragut is literally 500 feet down the road, and that's the cottages at Price Farm. I can't think of, and I could be wrong, another project in Farragut of OSMR. So with this being on the comprehensive land use plan as open space residential, which has two zonings, OSR and OSMR, we have made an appropriate request for the rezoning to OSMR, and I think it would be difficult to deny this request and someone not look at questioning why the corner of
McPhee Road and cottages at Price Farm was rezoned OSMR, and why these like properties were treated differently. But we just respectfully ask for you to approve the motion before you tonight to rezone this property to R1 OSMR.
Okay, was there any other comments from anyone else?
The property owners are there. Do they want to speak?
Mr. Gibson? Ted Gibson, or Scott Gibson, you on the line?
I'm sorry, yes, this is Scott Gibson, Ted Gibson's son. And again, the dominant intention of people that were at that meeting was that it not be developed at all, which is unreasonable. They are welcome to purchase it and do whatever they like with it. Since no one's come up that wants to do that, this is an appropriate use. It seems very strange that if this workshop that was done last fall determined that OSR, which is comprised of two possible solutions, if one of them was unacceptable to you all at the time, it should have been made clear at that time. It was not. And to reiterate, Price Farms being 500 feet from this property or 1,000 feet from this property, again, would raise serious questions about conflict of interest or nepotism or something if you were to deny this request, but yet you approved that one.
And I'm going to reiterate exactly what Mr. Gibson just said. Price Farm was given the OSMR zone precisely because it was a compromised piece of property. This one is compromised. We are treating this property owner unfairly. We are also, I heard from a lot of the Brass Lantern people that wrote in, were concerned about traffic. This OSMR provides less traffic. And you're not going to see this. This doesn't have the frontage that Price Farm has. The attached portion of it can be faded into and not be visible from the frontage. It can look like single family from the frontage, which is only, I think, 650 feet, as opposed to the 2,500 feet of frontage that Price Farm has. That we're allowing the residents to vote to disregard somebody else's constitutional rights to reasonable use of their property is wrong. This is not a vote of the residents to say, oh, I want this or I want that. When you're talking about a reasonable use of someone's property, we are held to a higher standard, and reasonable use of someone's property is what we're supposed to do here. We're supposed to look at the law. We're supposed to be fair and treat our property owners fairly. And we are not doing that right now. And I think that's a shame. And he is right. I didn't hear anyone say they wanted it single family. I heard everyone say they don't want it developed at all, which is absolutely unreasonable. I'm very sad by what I hear right now.
Okay, any other comments from anyone? I need to go back around again to Alderman Meyer.
I would just say that because the traffic density would be less with the OSMR, and because it appears from what I hear y'all saying, the attached buildings most likely will not be seen in the front, I'm in favor of the OSMR and support the consistency that I believe that we're obligated to to provide with the Price Farms.
Alderman Meyer, Alderman Chuck.
I'll pass. I have no further comments.
No more further. Okay. Burnett.
I'll pass. No further comment.
Okay. Well, I do. I have some more comment. No cottages of farm are there, and they are the OSMR. They seem to be turnover and hold their value pretty well. And it does have a big sinkhole. This one does have a little bit more of a challenge than what that one did. Sinkholes can build around. This one, you can't really build around it. You have to build or beside it. So in both cases, whether it be OSMR or OSR, the property owner has reasonable use of his property. So that's a given. Our decision tonight is whether we feel that one would be better than the other. I think Vice Mayor Pavlin made a pretty good presentation on all the positives about it. So the traffic, something that you hear everybody say, talk about on that particular road. Again, this would be less as opposed to all single family. The concern, of course, is that we have all of a sudden a big development of attached out there, and I don't think that anybody would want that at all. We don't really do a use on review like what some places do. So I guess at this point it's time for us. We've got a motion and we've got a second, so to approve it. So I guess we need to go ahead and have a roll call vote.
Alderman Pinchuk.
Alderman Pinchuk, no.
Alderman Pavlin.
Alderman Pavlin, yes.
Alderman Burnett.
Alderman Burnett, no.
Alderman Meyer.
Alderman Meyer, yes.
Mayor Williams.
Mayor Williams is a no. Okay, let the record show that the ordinance 20 has failed on the first reading with a 3-2 vote. Next will be the town administrator's report. David?
I have the only thing I have to report tonight is that tomorrow at 10:30 in the morning, our state of Tennessee Secretary of State Trey Hargett will be here. He's going to be at Town Hall looking at our election for the Knox County Election Commission and our voting district here in Farragut. So he's going to be on hand to see how everything's going. And so if you have an opportunity to come by and say hello, I'm sure he'd be glad to see you. So that's all I have to report tonight.
Public forum protocol to be read into the record. I'll ask the town recorder to please read in all eligible comments or questions that are available. And we'll start off with this. Each one will be allowed 5 minutes. So.
Yes, sir. We have a couple tonight, and the following comments are the ones that were received that do meet the protocol for the citizen comments during the Board of Mayor and Alderman meetings. The first one is Bill Harden. He's at 613 Glen Willow Road. He says, "Why don't you let the Environmental Health Trust come in and speak to you? The guy that the cell tower company, who has already spoken to all, has been wrong in so many ways, and that has already been proven. You wouldn't let something being built without only getting one bid. So why not hear from the other side? This is wrong, and you're doing it against the law and against the Constitution. Again, the cell tower companies have hired this guy to pull the wool over your eyes. Let the environmental people come in and speak their piece and tell the truth about what's going on. The second one's Laura Squires. In the Farragut Press, Mayor Williams is quoted as saying, Williams encouraged town citizens or anyone else interested to send in comments. I'm very interested in 5G as we are staring it down along our street, and 10 of 11 homes I spoke to want a no 5G sign in their front yards, or more correctly, to be placed beside the public right-of-way in front of their homes. I also heard and read the mayor's comments about the 5G resolution that had been sent in, not just to Governor Lee, but to quite a few people, both federal and state legislatures. That has been sent, but I guess the word has not gone out to everyone. I'm very grateful to the town of Farragut for passing a resolution. However, it does no one any good if it is a piece of paper that was sent and is allowed to lay toothless and dormant in the reed stack. Will the mayor and town administrator immediately request an in-person meeting with Bill Lee to review the resolution and ask for an executive order to halt the work in Farragut until additional information can be presented to the Planning Commission and Board of Mayor and Aldermen regarding the overall plan for Farragut, the anticipated number of carriers to use Farragut's public right-of-ways, and that all important long-term human exposure safety data. I've read estimates that by 2025, 50% of America will have access to 5G. I want Farragut to stand up to the cellular industry and let us be in that 50% to receive 5G after 2025. This is one occasion I would prefer to wait. With the mayor and alderman immediately scheduled a work session with Jason Zachary and Richard Briggs to develop legislation for presentation in January 2021 to modify the existing law to protect neighbors in this invasion. I corresponded with Jason Zachary, and on Monday, June 15th, he stated, I am staying in close contact with Farragut and will run legislation next year if we can't get some type of resolution on the federal level. Based on my current understanding of the situation, I do not believe TASER is taking action that will save Farragut neighborhoods, and I see no evidence of a federal level resolution. It's up to the Board of Mayor and Aldermen, the Planning Commission, Jason Zachary, Richard Briggs to take action to protect our neighborhoods. What is Farragut currently doing with Jason Zachary and Richard Briggs to develop protective legislation to introduce in January? Thank you for reading my comment. The next one is Kevin Desmond. Says, I respectfully request a full and in-depth analysis of 5G impact on the people of the Farragut community from the health standpoint, a property value standpoint, and aesthetic standpoint. All three of these topics are worth discussion and evaluation by not just a big telecom company representatives, but also those researchers and scientists not receiving monetary compensation from the 5G industry. It is obvious that there is a big push to expand 5G nationwide, yet the major 5G corporate players have refused to do the safety and health studies that should be mandatory in today's corporate accountability environment. I'm not actually a resident of Farragut, but I live close by and spend much of my time in Farragut and will suffer any negative impacts, much like a resident of Farragut would suffer. As elected representatives, it's your job to be responsible to maintain the safe for the community and also not negatively impact our property values. I hope you agree with that statement. If you do, why would there be any objection to hear from the other side of the 5G issue before pushing forward with a new high-speed technology that refuses to do health studies? My phone is plenty fast enough with 4G. Our next one is Robert Gleason at 213 Woodland Trace. He says, first and foremost, my family and many residents do not want 5G towers in their backyards, front yards, or near our schools. The representative from Mr. Davis, presentation from Mr. Davis was very biased, favoring the cell phone companies. His presentation was, in my opinion, so bad that if I had worked for the cell phone industry I don't think I would believe him. He had many errors, which I know people have already pointed out across the town via neighborhood emails and emails to the town of Farragut leaders. One which was sent was Theodora Scrotto, Executive Director of the Environmental Health Trust, is of interest to the Farragut citizens. I would like to request that the alderman schedule another presentation with a more balanced view of the effects of 5G towers and transmitters. They are not safe. I would also like to point out that giving MasTec continued support of their broken sewer, gas, and water lines is something that should be reevaluated and possibly halted. Town leaders should look into getting a new bid on this project because they are obviously causing property damage already ahead of the property damage the 5G towers are going to inflict on our town. This issue is the biggest one the aldermen will face in their tenure. Let's get it right. No cell phones in our neighborhoods. Our next one is from Mike Mitchell. He's at 716 Brixworth. Excuse me. It says, Mayor and Alderman, as part of my time in the Citizens Forum this evening, I am forwarding an email that was sent from the Environmental Health Trust to the Mayor, Vice Mayor, and Planning Commission concerning the testimony of Professor Christopher Davis to the Planning Commission. I want it read into the record. In this email, the Environmental Health Trust asked for equal time in the August 20th Planning Commission meeting and correct 6 major scientific errors in Professor Christopher Davis's testimony. Since January, the residents of Farragut have requested time for the Environmental Health Trust to be heard in the Planning Commission. How many times must we ask? Professor Christopher Davis' testimony contained many serious errors, as you can read in the email below to the Planning Commission. Professor Davis is not a doctor, toxicologist, or epidemiologist. He is an engineer. He has no training on how cellular radiation affects the human body. I want to discuss with this board Professor Davis's ridiculous comment regarding base stations or cell poles. The field levels are very low. It is about the same exposure as the light level from the planet Venus. Our friend Jerry Guthrie in Village Green is fighting a 38-foot 4G cell tower in his front yard that will be 30 feet from where he sleeps. The cellular radiation will reach his head almost instantaneously. 4G cell towers are much more dangerous than 5G cell towers because they broadcast at a much lower frequency, meaning they have more penetrating power. Compare this to light from planet Venus, which is approximately 25 million miles from Earth. It is so far away that it takes light traveling at 186,000 miles per hour 6 minutes to reach the Earth. Professor Davis's comment is irresponsible in the extreme, and even a junior high school graduate can see it is a false claim. How after a ridiculous claim like that can anyone say Professor Davis's testimony was very informative? It was better than I expected as far as the actual 5G information, which was said by one of the Planning Commission members and is quoted in this week's Farragut Press. The email from the Environmental Health Trust to the Mayor, Vice Mayor, and Planning Commission concerning the testimony of Professor Christopher Davis to the Planning Commission. Dear Community Development Director Mark Shipley, please send this email to each Planning Commission member. I'm also enclosing the email I sent to the Mayor and Vice Mayor below, detailing the errors and omissions made in the recent presentation to your board. I am hopeful that there can be time set aside for your leadership to review additional material through a presentation to your commission from our organization. I've attached several studies as documentation for the issues I raised below in my email to the Mayor and Vice Mayor. Thank you so very much. And that's Theodora Scrotto, the Executive Director, the Environmental Health Trust. Her email reads, Dear Mayor Williams and Vice Mayor Povlin, on behalf of the Environmental Health Trust, of which I'm the Executive Director, I respectfully request equal time to address the presentation from Professor Christopher Davis in the Farragut Planning Commission meeting of July 16th. Professor Davis presented several errors in his presentation, which the Planning Commission needs to be made aware of. I was told this presentation was supposed to be educational. However, in light of the inaccurate characterizations of the science, I would state that the presentation did not achieve the goal of education on the state of science. I have listed just a few factual errors and misrepresentations below. I could add many more, but for the sake of time, I will stop for today. There are many more issues I can point out with the presentation on July 16th. I understand the next Planning Commission meeting is August 20th. Will you allow a 5:30 p.m. workshop on the day of that meeting? I believe the council has a right to hear facts from the independent source. This way, officials can have all sides of the story. Environmental Health Trust is not connected to telecom funding. Our scientists are among the leading independent experts in the field. We are a nonprofit dedicated to protecting public health and the independent environment. Respectfully, Theodora Scrotto. Regarding the National Toxicology Program cell phone radiation study, he is inaccurate about the effects. Sorry. That was our 5-minute timer for our sit-in comments. And so the remaining of this comment can be found in your emails that I sent to you earlier today. And the press also has the remaining of this comment. And that's all the comments for tonight.
Okay, thank you, Allison. I believe David needs to do a response.
Thank you, Mayor. Just a little update on, I know that we had several questions about the 5G, 4G small cell issues. The staff is currently working on identifying a speaker to present at a future board meeting that could give all of us further viewpoints on small cell development around the country. But it's important for the public to understand, though, that the town of Farragut and other local governments across the state of Tennessee and the United States do not have the authority to halt small cell development based on health studies, as the FCC has preempted our authority on this issue. We have been in contact with our state representatives and will continue having discussions with them on possible legislation to run in the 2021 legislative session that could allow municipalities to have more local control over these issues. That's all I had, Mayor.
Hey, thank you, sir. I guess it's my turn. I want to let everyone know that's listening tonight about our current position. David's pretty well stated how the FCC and the state of Tennessee laws apply. FCC law applies broadly all across the country. The Tennessee state law is a little stricter than what the FCC is, but and that is something that I think the citizens can address their senators, their respective senators and representatives as far as statewide, and they can talk to them about what be changed there. We've been asked to stop the 5G poles from being installed in the residential areas, and by law, we do not have the power to do so. That I want to make sure that everyone is aware of. I've made that sure many times, and we still get the citizen forum request to stop them, and I want to make sure everyone's aware of that. We will not break the law and try to forcibly stop them. I want to make that crystal clear. That's not our job to do. We cannot do that. And what we did do is we did what you asked, and we sent a resolution to everyone that we thought would read it and that would have some input. And we've been having our staff to an ordinance that on a few items that we actually do have some say-so, aesthetics and maybe some location options, and we'll see what we come up with that. There's been quite a few requests to the board, the planning commission, and our staff for items that we cannot do or control. So I ask that if you have thoughts concerning the aesthetics and the location, then to please send them to us. That's what I would like to have sent to us, is those right there. We really need to focus on that. There are requests that our staff concerning health issues that we have no say or control over. So let's focus, if we can, on what we can do at this time within the laws that we have to work with, and hopefully our legislatures can relax a little bit of the Tennessee state law, and this group that wants to speak, I'm not really had a chance to look into them to see who they are or what they are, exactly what they do, but they have they're stressing that the citizens to come to us first, to the locals. I did hear that through somebody that sent me a nasty email, but anyway, we've done what we can do with it, and now it's up to our state and our federal legislators. As far as anything else, staff is doing what we can do at this moment, and they've got a full plate. There's other things going on that requires their attention, and that they need to focus on. And one of the big things is this particular ordinance that has to do with aesthetics and location. And if we can all focus on that and get something going on that, I think it would really help us come January, whenever our state legislatures can go back to session and plead their case. They can possibly get some support to help matters. So that's primarily what I had to say tonight. Thank you.
Mayor Williams, can I add just a little to that? To reaffirm what you've said. The town of Farragut is a creation of the state. Dillon's rule applies. Dillon's rule applies. We exist because the state allows us to exist. If you read the state law regarding the deployment of small cell infrastructure, there is a preemption clause at 13-24-404 that preempts the ordinance that we approved in 2017. We cannot enforce the ordinance we approved in 2017. The state has the right to preempt our law, and they did it. And they have a private right of action in 13-24-412 is part of this infrastructure, small cell infrastructure deployment, private right of action. It specifically directs the telecommunication companies, if a municipality or local government doesn't do what they're supposed to do by the letter of the law, they can go to Chancery Court and sue them. And the judge will find in favor of the telecommunications company, and the local government could be lacking any ability to enforce any of the things they actually have a right to have say in. So I get very frustrated. I do not like this. I do not like that we have to allow this to happen to us. But I do not want to give up our right to enforce what we can enforce in this law, which is aesthetics and some insurance issues and some pacing with, there are issues that we can require of them. And I'm going to require everything within the inches of the law that allow us to. So I appreciate what you've said here, and we need to continue to understand we are a creation of the state. They can preempt our ordinances and tell us what to do.
Thank you, Vice Mayor Pavlin. Alderman Meyer, do you have any comment?
Alderman Meyer, pass.
Pinchuk, any comment?
Alderman Pinchuk, I pass.
Burnett.
Alderman Burnett, no comment.
Okay, with that said, the time is approximately 8:10 p.m. and without objection, the July 9th, 2020 Farragut Board of Mayor and Alderman meeting was now adjourned. Thank you, folks.